Welcome to the Charlie Rose Show. Evars Jr. is here. He is an all-around computer guy and the writer of the Blog Daily Nuggets. He is here to discuss his latest project, Comedians on Toilets Writing Material, and how his entire life feels like a missed high five. Here is a look at his work.
I write my material on the loo, because I heard that's what Dylan does. Not to be a copycat, but Dylan's method seemed to work out, don't you think? Let's do some scraps and drafts. The biggest mistake I ever made was not becoming Michael Jordan. Iced coffee is an art form. The people making them at Starbucks are pop stars. The ones making them at your corner store are the real artists. They are avant-garde. Is that how you say it?
Welcome, Mr. Evars. The pleasure is all mine.
I'm sure that it is.
Well, you're quite the man these days.
That is precisely correct, a man these days. But I didn't come here to talk about surgery.
I don't think that is on the list of topics. Let's start off by explaining to me what scraps and drafts are.
No, Charlie. Let's start off by me telling you that I'm not going to apologize, because I'm not sorry. However, I want to tell you that it truly is a dream to be on your show.
Oh really?
Yes, otherwise I wouldn't have said it. The first time I saw your show was when you had Mr. Rogers as a guest. That freak of nature is the greatest comedian of all time. I've been a fan of your show ever since.
Mr. Rogers was a comedian.
He better have been. That show could not be a joke, and if it wasn't, I'll never forgive my parents for making me watch that thing. I digest. You were asking about scraps and drafts?
Yes, are these scraps and drafts? What called scraps and drafts?
First of all, it's fun to say, scraps and drafts, scraps and drafts. Give it a try, Charlie.
Scraps and drafts.
Scraps and drafts.
Scraps and drafts.
Scraps and drafts.
Scraps and drafts. Scraps and drafts.
Sit down, Charlie, and I'll tell you more about the scraps and drafts. Scraps and drafts are the random thoughts that race through all of our heads, yet the difference is, I write them down, post them on the World Wide Web, and as a result, immediately become famous.
But everybody's racing thoughts aren't as comical. How do you come up with them? They can't be simplified as just racing thoughts.
Well, Charlie, it's complicated. Me trying to explain how I come up with these ideas is like Mr. Richard Simmons trying to explain his workout routine, and there's nothing routine about that.
That begs the question, is comedy unexplainable?
Charlie, I think that it used to be explainable, but now, we live in times when explanations are always explained by saying, words can't explain. We may be entering an age where people no longer explain with words, yet rather explain by doing a little dance, which doesn't bode well for us white guys. Yet, if legend is correct, you are quite a dancer, huh, Charlie? And words certainly cannot explain the tragedy that just unraveled. That might be the result of spending so much time in this black. Please switch gears again, Charlie.
Let's discuss Comedians on Toilets Writing Material. I know it's hard to explain how you came up with it, but how did you come up with it?
It so happens that is easy to explain. Jerry Seinfeld has a show called Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. I'm a big fan of Jerry. And anyone not a fan of Jerry is no longer considered a human being. Love the Jerry. Love the Jerry. I'm also a huge fan of Bobby Dylan, yet some people claim to be Dylanologists, and are so obsessed, that if Dylan said he wrote lyrics on the loo, people would flock to bathrooms to write poetry, coming quite close to metaphorically flushing out down the drain.
You also write poetry, don't you, Evars?
Yes, I have a new poem in my pocket. Would you like to hear it?
By all means, please.
The day I become free, oh oh, the day I become free, oh oh oh, the day I become free, is the day I don't have to comb my hair. Is that the day I lose it all, or the day I just forget to care? Thanks for the standing ovation, Charlie.
Let's get back to discussing art. You mentioned living in these times. Do you think you can do art for art's sake these days?
It's complicated, like love, but there is always room for art, and love for that matter. But optimism is alive and well inside me, because I recently met this really slick 5-year-old named Charlie. And there is only one Charlie Rose in this world, but there are other Charlies.
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Parker.
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie from the sitcom, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And Charlie from the kindergarten class that I substitute taught last week.
So you are a writer, all-around computer guy, a professor at Columbia University, and you teach. Where do you find the time?
I usually find my time during the day, but also during the night time. But let's focus on Charlie from kindergarten. This particular Charlie is an artist. He is an artist, because his t-shirt said so, and t-shirts can't lie, except that champion shirt over there, because that guy is certainly no champion.
Join us next time for part 2 of my conversation with Renaissance man, Evars Jr. We will continue our discussion about his new writing partner, kindergartner, Charlie, and how his Columbia University philosophy course, How to Jump a Puzzle with Style 50/50, is making other philosophers finally stop asking, to be or not to be. Until then, I'm Thomas Smiley, keep the faith, or don't, what do I care?